Today I had the opportunity to interview Sir Richard Branson, and I asked him what he thought was the biggest challenge facing the UK economy, as well as his thoughts on the airline industry.
I think the UK is doing a lot better. I think it's actually doing better than any other European country at the moment. They took a tough decision in deciding to cut back on government expenditure and expanding on the private sector, and it seems to have worked for them. I think they've got the same kinds of challenges as a lot of European countries. They still have something like 7% unemployment. That's something that needs to be addressed, and obviously we're working with government to try to get more more entrepreneurs set up in the country. The government have introduced something where they'll give entrepreneurial loans in the same way that they might have given student loans in the past. And I think that will work ultimately in the UK, and it could work throughout the world.
So the airline industry has been much maligned in recent times, especially having been hit by all the higher fuel costs and instability within oil markets. Do you see a resurgence in the airline industry anytime in the near future?
Yes, I think the airline industry is enjoying a period of resurgence. Airlines actually are apt to go through big cycles, but right now I think is a very good time for the airline industry. Obviously fuel prices are coming down. I think what's happening with fracking around the world, and in particular in America, is going to bring fuel prices down. And obviously fuel prices are an enormous part of the costs of airlines. So I think, and then obviously where governments have allowed airlines to merge, that has been good for the airline industry. It's not necessarily good for the consumer. But the airline industry, I think, will be the stronger for it.
Virgin Atlantic has a partnership with Air China. How significant is China in broader Asia to the success story of Virgin Atlantic? Do you have plans to expand in the region?
Well, we fly from London to Hong Kong and to Shanghai. We'd love to fly to Beijing and other Chinese cities. At the moment, Heathrow Airport is completely full and we can't get slots there. We've been lobbying for 28 years for another runway at Heathrow, and it still hasn't happened. And this is where a democracy can be so difficult. It can hold a whole country back, there's so we're hopeful that finally when the election is over, that somebody will be politically brave enough to get another couple of runways built.
I want to talk to you about Virgin Galactic. You've had some successful test flights recently to the Mojave Desert. Are you a man on a mission to send people to the moon?
I'm a man on a mission to enable myself, my family, friends, to be able to go to space. There are millions of people who would love to become astronauts, to look back at our beautiful Earth. And this year, I will go to space. We'll start going to space, and I think it'll be the whole era of a new space exploration. I mean, we're going to be able to put small satellites in space at a fraction of the price that it's cost up until now, which will mean the billions of people who don't have phone access or internet access will be able to get it, and very cheaply. The people who do have phone access or internet access today, the price will come down dramatically. We're going to be able to do point-to-point air travel at a fraction of the time it takes at the moment. So one day, Virgin will fly London to Shanghai in under an hour. I hope that happens in my lifetime, using a Virgin Galactic spaceship to take our passengers.
Virgin Galactic is accepting Bitcoin payments to those who want to go to space. Does that go to show how optimistic you are, or perhaps how bullish you are on the virtual currency?
I think whoever came up with the idea of Bitcoin is an absolute genius. Nobody knows who the man or the woman is. They're a multi-billionaire already as a result of coming up with the idea. It is a global currency, and it's great to have a global currency. I'm not sure whether Bitcoin's going to be the global currency of the future, or whether you know, an organization like Square or somebody else will actually deliver the one that works. But I think there will one day be a global currency. In the meantime, if there are a whole lot of Bitcoin millionaires, and if they want to buy space tickets, we're very happy to take their money.
You're quite heavily involved in philanthropy, having recently launched B Team in Davos. If you had a magic wand, and if I said to you, if you wave that wand, one issue in the world would be solved, what would that one issue be?
There's so many issues, and our foundation tries to address you know, many of them. So whether it's conflicts in the world, you know, whether it's global warming, whether it's you know, protecting our oceans, protecting the species in our oceans from being decimated, things like shark fin soup. But I think you know, one thing which I do think that the world should unite in, and that is, you know, let's start a clean energy revolution that powers the world in a clean way, where, you know, people in Beijing are not going to have to stay indoors because of all the soot in the air, and which creates hundreds of thousands of jobs, and which takes us off the relying on dirty fossil fuels. And it's doable, and it needs the various nations and business people to get together around a table and map out a way forward.
It was a fascinating conversation with a fascinating man who has his fingers in many different interesting pies. It was real interesting to interview him, Phil, because not only is he so profound in his business ventures, he's also a great philanthropist.